Hey there, Coach Jeff. This is our morning cars routine. I'm with my guy Levaughn. We're going to execute 2 repetitions each direction of each one of your controlled articular rotations at 10 to 30%. So 30% is going to be body irradiation. I'm going to get Levaughn to just contract his entire system or his entire body, so that if I was pushing him or nudging him one way, can't move him, he's rock solid. The other way, rock solid from front or back, he's a statue. He's stiff and he's still. This is going to help prevent movement or compensatory patterns from the other neighboring joints. We just want to move the intended joint via your cars and not move other joints. So we're working in an isolation motion of each and every one of your joints. We'll start with the neck. So again, we'll maintain 30% whole body contraction. Levaughn's going to flex his neck to his chest, rotate, laterally flex to one side, extending, wrapping his head back and around. A little slower. We're going to move through rep number 2, which should be a little bit more of a better repetition, carving out a little bit more range of motion or space. And then after he's back to the center, we'll repeat going the other direction. Very important here as a disclaimer to not push through any pain or pinching in any of your joints. If you feel any pain or pinching, just bypass the motion by making it smaller. And of course, if you have issues in a particular joint, please seek out help with a therapist and get that resolved, okay? From there, what we'll move into next after the neck is the scapula. So we'll just make fists, keep our arms straight and long to our side, and we'll move through our shoulder blades. So we're gonna move through our greatest rotational capacity via our shoulder blades, going forward, up, back and down, 2 reps, and then switch directions, keeping your arms to the side of your body. Nice and slow, moving through all pockets or space within that range of motion, okay? From there, we're gonna move into the glenohumeral joint. So we'll be a little stiffer and more stable on the left side of our body as we begin to turn that forearm out, cut across your body with the right side, reaching over your head, keeping your shoulders square to the front. When you're over your head, reaching and rotating as you wrap it back and around. So much rotation that you reach behind you, and you're gonna have your knuckles facing your hip. From there, going backwards, you'll reach behind you, rotate, keep those shoulders square, keep rotating as you reach over your head. Fight for more rotation as you cut across your body. Well executed, buddy. Stay tall. Let's repeat rep number 2. So the shoulder joint has an immense amount of rotation, being it's a ball and socket joint, and the hip moves similarly to the shoulder. We'll get to the hips momentarily. Moving through all of your ranges in a nice controlled manner. Excellent job. So now we'll stiffen up this right side, making fists, keeping the hand open on the left. Let's rotate so the forearm is facing the camera. Cut across your body, reach over your head. Once you've reached over your head, rotate, start wrapping it back, reach towards the lake as much as you can. Knuckles will then face your hip. Reach back, reverse engineering your shoulder car. Going from forward into backward. Rotate that forearm so it faces the front. Well done. Rep number 2. Yep, you got it. Real slow. So you're just thinking like you're moving through more dense or thicker air. The air is about 30% resisted. 20 to 30% max voluntary contraction of the body, moving the joint 10 to 20%. Right? It's important to keep the body stiff and irradiated a little bit more greater than the moving joint so that you don't move from other neighboring joints. You just move from the intended joint, okay? So next what we'll do is we'll do elbows. We'll do both at the same time. You're gonna turn those forearms face out. You're just gonna basically bicep curl through more thicker, more dense air. Rotate, extend once more, rotate, really squeeze my finger there by flexing your biceps. Rotate and then extend the elbows for your triceps. Now you're gonna reverse it. So almost like you're doing a reverse bicep curl and then rotate, good. And then a reverse tricep extension. Rep number 2, take your time, moving through thicker, more dense air. And great job. Okay, here's a tricky one. For the wrist, we'll keep the forearm bent, or rather the elbow bent 90 degrees, and the forearm facing up. Try to imagine you have a cup of water here on your water, and we don't want to rotate from our forearm or elbow, spilling the water. The hand, I want to keep open and watch for movement coming from the fingers or hand. We don't want any movement coming from the fingers or hand. We don't want any movement coming from the elbows. From here, keep that body irradiation or tension. You're going to rotate through the wrist at your greatest rotation. Seeing that elbow rotate a little bit, so just watch for that. And again, with your cars, if it means you're moving the joint smaller, but you're doing a better job of controlling the neighboring joints from moving, that would be preferred, okay? More controlled movement of the joint. Don't worry about how big or small it is right now. Have the best control. 2 reps each direction, and then of course, good man, we'll switch wrists. So you're just thinking like a glorified circle here with your controlled articular rotations, with your fingers as imaginary markers maybe. You're drawing an imaginary semicircle with your magic marker fingers. Okay. Getting into the spine, what we're going to do is we're going to begin rotating. Might get a little bit more of a base here. And here you come a little more in front of the camera and I'll move out of your way. And then we're going to hug ourselves. Good. Now keep that body stiff. Compensations usually come from the hips or the neck. Okay, so Levaughn's going to begin to flex here in his spine first. So go ahead and flex down into your spine, working your way into flexion. Good boy, as much as you can, flex forward without your hips pushing backward. Good, from there he's rotating, then side bending, and then bringing it back into extension. Be careful the hips don't shoot forward. When you're side bending or laterally flexing, be careful your hips don't spill forward. Try to rotate, try to flex a little bit more forward here, buddy. Really bend down so you get into the lowest stuff of your low back. Rotate. Bend backward, extending, good. Rotate into lateral flexion and then rotating back through the front or your flexion zone, and then we'll reverse it. He's doing a really good job here keeping his hips still. Just moving from all of the vertebrae. We have 24 moving vertebrae in our spine, and we're looking to target each and every one of those vertebrae. Excellent. So that is for spine rotations. The spine also fundamentally flexes and extends. So what I'll get you to do, bud, is turn to the side and we'll face this way. Yep. And then this one, we're just going to reach down. You know this one, starting with the neck. Okay. So now we're integrating the entire spine, neck into your thoracic spine, which is your upper back, and then working your way as you reach down. Good job into the lower stuff of your back. Be careful to keep the hips and knees still and not cheat with the hips and knees. Once you're at the bottom, we're going to slowly bring it back up. I will reference dominoes, so like a domino effect, each vertebrae one by one is articulating. We're moving from flexion zone. He's now going to go into extension. Go ahead and bring those shoulders back. Lean back a little bit more. Lean back. Good job. Let's go next rep. Again, the second rep should be better than the first rep, whether you're just trying to carve out more space or trying to control the neighboring joints better. It's like multitasking, right? Let's move the intended joint and not cheat and move from other joints. Not that moving other joints is a bad thing, but it's really a game of isolation before integration here, right? Where we do our daily activities and fitness exercises. We're gonna integrate many joints moving. Here's an opportunity for you, good job, dude, to isolate one joint at a time and give it the love it needs. For hip controlled articular rotations, you're gonna need something stable to hold on to. So Levaughn's gonna hold on to this post, and he's gonna keep his other arm up so it's level with the floor so that he doesn't move or shake his body from side to side. Again, irradiate 30%. And we're gonna move the hip of the arm that's out to the side. You can see he cuts it across his body. Bring that knee up real high. And then abduct, keeping the pelvis square to the front. He's beginning to rotate and kicking his leg back into extension. Similarly to the shoulder, we're just going to reverse it. Same as the shoulder in that it's a ball and socket joint. Rotating through the front and back down slowly. Great job. I just want to make reference to the pelvis. Very important, similar to the arms, to keep the pelvis level and not side bending or moving around while moving your hip car. Second rep. Very good. And last one backwards. Good job. What we'll do, Levaughn, is we'll turn your back to the camera and give a posterior view, and we'll do the next hip. Cutting across your body, hip flexing, abducting, internally rotating, back into extension. Reversing, knee flexion, hip extension, abduction. Now we have an immense amount of hip flexion into external rotation. Rep number 2 will be a better rep. Try not to squirm or worm from any part of the spine. I made reference to the pelvis. Just want to move in that ball and socket hip joint. For toe cars, we're going to begin with the great toe or the big toe. We're going to keep the feet flat and secure on the ground and lift the great toe back into extension while keeping the 4 lateral toes down. 2 repetitions for each great toe. Then we will move into the 4 lateral toes by keeping the big toe down, pulling the 4 lateral toes back into extension. Next, we will pull all 5 toes back on the first foot, pushing the great toe down while keeping the 4 lateral toes back. And then lastly, we will keep the toes down and we will squeeze all 5 toes together and then spread them apart. For toe adduction, squeezing together, and abduction, spreading them apart. Repeating on the second foot. And that is your morning controlled articular rotations routine.